4.5 years after it launched in Europe, the Volkswagen ID.4 is finally on sale in Australia alongside the ID.5, which is its coupe-esque sibling. This electric medium SUV has taken so long because Volkswagen Australia has waited for the mid-cycle update to be available, and it's an extensive one, included in which is 75% more torque for this entry-level rear-wheel drive car here, and a really sharp price, starting at $59,990 with a huge amount of equipment as standard. So what we're here to find out is, has it been worth the wait? Is it better than its competitors? And should you consider it over a Chinese EV for the same money? I'm Nathan Ponchard, and this is Chasing Cars.
Chasing Cars, honest reviews of your next car.
Brought to you by
Budget Direct.
What makes the ID.4 Pro's $59,990 price so persuasive is the amount of equipment that comes with the car. In fact, there's only two options, and this car has both of them. One of them is a $1,000 metallic paint for this Costa Azul Blue. The other is a $900 styling package that adds this silver on the front bumper here and the silver from the A to the C pillar running over the car, and a black roof. It has also a no-cost option brown interior, as we shall discover, and it just gives it a little bit of point of difference. Now, this ID.4 Pro has, as standard, matrix LED front lights, 19-inch wheels, a panoramic glass sunroof with an electric sunblind. It has 3D rear lights with sequential indicators. It really has have quite a lot of stuff as standard. And when we get inside, we'll see just how filled out that interior is for what is essentially the base price for this ID.4 Pro. Underneath is Volkswagen's MEB platform, which is shared among a whole bunch of other electric vehicles in the Volkswagen, Audi, Skoda, Cupra stable, including the ID. Buzz. This one is positioned between the Skoda Elroq, which is coming, and the Skoda Enyaq, which is a little bit similar in shape to this ID.4 here, but a little bit larger. And so the positioning of these cars, even though they're different brands, is all meant to be relatively complementary. I know that styling is subjective, but I kind of was concerned that the ID.4 might look a bit dated and blobby when it got here, but on the road it actually looks quietly understated. It isn't necessarily sexy. It does have very thick set sides, but it has quite a lot of creasing to sort of break up those masses. It doesn't have too much embellishment, and I think with the two-tone colouring, especially with the silver and the blue here and the black roof and the cool lights with the full light band across the front here, full light band across the tailgate, it just gives it a little bit of pizzazz without screaming for attention. And I think that's very much the sort of person that might have bought a Volkswagen Golf or a Tiguan that may consider something like the ID.4 Pro. While the interior of the ID.4 is very much about function, it does have a degree of embellishment to make it a little bit special. It doesn't have things like carpeted door bins and that sort of stuff. It is all hard plastic down there, but that is also functional, and it does take proper camping models in all four doors. It's the things like having these microfleece seats here, which in this case has a no-cost option of Florence brown leatherette around here and across the dash and stuff, that I think really breaks up the interior. Otherwise, it's just all charcoal. It does add a point of difference. These seats are excellent. They're those ergo comfort seats that Volkswagen has. Both front seats are fully electric, two-position memory plus massage, even for the passenger, and heating. And they're not leather, they're microfleece with heating, which is a great idea. The general layout of the interior here is also really good. The vision through the front is great. The dashboard shape is completely inoffensive, even though it has this new screen. This is part of the mid-cycle update, 12.9 inches, illuminated heating and cooling controls, permanent HVAC sitting there on the bottom of the screen, plus shortcut widgets all the way across the top. That actually is what makes the change worthwhile, as well as all that extra torque that I mentioned about, as we shall discover when we drive it. The rest of the interior really just kind of works. It doesn't have tons of storage, but what it has is really useful. Wireless charging in here, some cup holders down the middle here, more cup holders here, great door bins, an absolutely excellent back seat with fantastic comfort in the outer two positions, and a 543-litre boot, plus this glass roof here with an electric sunblind. So we've got comfort, vision, and space, and the equipment that it has in here really is the sort of stuff that you want without stuff that you don't need. Included in the surprise and delight of that is that it gets these armrests here that fold down in the middle, much like an ID. Buzz, for both front passengers. Once again, And while it has currently wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, in the next update from July 2025, it will have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, thankfully, and that will hopefully be software updatable in this version we have here. There are multiple ways that the ID.4 Pro quietly impresses you the more that you drive it. I do love the fact that it only has hardly any options, like having things like illuminated door handles and puddle lighting and the trick matrix headlights, these great seats, having a decent screen that actually has functionality to it, and in particular, now that we're driving, the fact that it has adaptive dampers as standard in Australia with a 15 setting range, which is completely unheard of among its competitors, and it also has standard progressive steering, which means much quicker turn in, 2.5 turns lock to lock. So there's a suaveness, even though it doesn't hit you in the face, there is a polish and a suaveness to the way that this ID.4 Pro drives. It just lopes along, it can waft if it needs to, it can be relatively sporty if you want it to, because it is rear-wheel drive and it does have ESC Sport. And the powertrain, 82 kilowatt hour battery, 210 kilowatts, 545 newton meters, both of which are entirely ample, 6.7 seconds 0 to 100, which is also entirely ample. So there's a driver appeal to it. Like even going into these corners here, I'm filming and going into really quite tight corners, and the car just lopes along. It just is enjoyable in a soothing and satisfying kind of way. The regenerative braking is just a twist of the gear lever here into B, like other Volkswagen Group models, and that works pretty well too. It's not too aggressive, but it does slow the vehicle nicely in a relatively smooth and calm fashion, and it's that smooth calmness that suits the vibe of the ID.4 Pro. It is a refined car that has a smoothness about it in the way that it drives, in the way that it steers, in the way that it performs, and in the way that its safety systems operate. That means it doesn't feel like a digital EV. It feels like a calming and quiet family medium SUV, which is what you want in an EV like this. And then there's its charging. It has 175 kilowatts maximum DC charging, which is pretty good. Its 10 to 80% claim is somewhere between 22 and 28 minutes, depending on who you believe. But either way, that is still actually pretty good. It does come with both types of charging cables as standard, which is also not expected in this class. Sometimes they really are quite expensive. And the first 500 people who put an order in for the ID.4 Pro and ID.5 GTX get a home charging kit as standard, which is a 7 kilowatt hour amp charge, one via Ampol. It's worth $1,899, but you get it for free, and that charges reasonably quickly too. So all of those things are trying to make ownership of this Volkswagen EV relatively painless, and that is probably the best way to describe the way that it drives too. It is utterly painless and very quietly, calmingly satisfying. The arrival of the Volkswagen ID.4 and ID.5 in April 2025 does seem a little bit like a planets aligning kind of moment. Sure, it's 4.5 years old, but it doesn't really feel dated. The updates that Volkswagen has done to it really make a tangible difference to the way that it drives, to its value for money, to its functionality in the interior. All those annoying things the Germans have very humbly admitted were wrong and have changed them for the better for the consumer. And now the best part about this ID.4 though is not necessarily the way it looks or even the amount of equipment that it has. It's the fact that it just actually drives like a car, like a polished Volkswagen passenger car. Much like a Golf or a Tiguan, this ID.4 Pro here is comfortable, it has nuance, it's balanced, it's refined, its seats are great, its boot's really good. It has a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't necessarily smack you in the face with how amazing it is, but it has so many good points that once they sort of start to sink in, you really notice just how unobtrusive this car is, and that includes the safety systems. And that is a huge step forward for any kind of EV in 2025. So should you walk into a Volkswagen dealership and decide you might want an electric vehicle like the ID.4 Pro, this vehicle here makes that step really quite painless. 545 kilometres of range is nothing to be sneezed at, and neither is its $59,990 price. Let us know what you think in the comments. Do you think this is a persuasive electric vehicle offering by Volkswagen Australia? And do you think it's been worth the wait? If you haven't subscribed, please do so below the video, hit the notification bell, and thanks for watching Chasing Cars.